Hello, Vernacular Faithful. Redcoat here, and I've got a guest with me today. Say hello, guest.
Hello, guest.
Oh, this guy.
Hello.
Well, if you would introduce yourself, actually.
Yeah, my name is Christoph. Most people just call me Chris or Dis. This part of my artist name, DisOmikron,
Mm-hmm.
and I make video game music
Yeah,
for a lot of different people.
coolness. Yes, and I am very happy to be counted among those people.
Mm-hmm.
Your work is super quality, actually. Um, the way you've described it in the past is like quirky music. Um,
Quirky music, yeah.
yeah, so
Most of it.
So thinking about that, what does that mean actually? Like quirky music. What does it mean for a song to have quirk?
That's actually a pretty good question. I'd say it doesn't have that much to do with my compositional approach, but it's more the way how I mix my music. You may have
Ah,
noticed that I'm not really aiming for realism or anything like that, but
hmm.
I like it if music is more or less directly in your face, as if it's right in front of your nose, the music.
Oh, okay. And so,
That's how I would describe quirky. And of course, some of the instruments I use, they are what I would consider quirky stuff like
hmm.
marimba and certain woodwind instruments, stuff that just makes you smile.
Ah, so like almost well, like quirky instruments would be instruments that have character. Would you say?
You could say, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say a guitar, for example, is quirky,
No, that's
or
fair.
or piano or drums couldn't be quirky either, in my opinion. But
Hmm.
it's actually hard to define.
But yeah, like a
That's what
theremin.
makes it so interesting.
Yeah, like a theremin would be a quirky instrument, maybe.
That
Uh,
is definitely a quirky instrument, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thinking about it, like kind of like the idea of because you have the terra firma orchestral instruments, right? You know, all the horns, the
Hmm.
clarinets and the oboes and all of that stuff that you hear on a fairly common basis, and it's like whenever you go and listen to an arrangement, you're like, oh, that's the strings, and it just kind of it melds into the rest of the thing. Whereas an instrument with quirk, it's like a part of the arrangement is the instrument is there, like the fact that the instrument is even
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Um,
And I'd say every instrument actually matters too. So
oh,
there's nothing that you almost can't hear because it's so far in the background or anything like that. But everything is pretty clearly audible and has a purpose in the tune.
okay, cool. Well, speaking of making quirky tunes, you've made a what I would I feel like you've made a good deal of quirky things for Project
Oh
Shadows,
yeah.
or rather Legends of Mathmatica. Um, so when with your time on the project, have you any like highlights, like anything that you like? Well, first off, how have you enjoyed working with us? Actually, I'm curious.
It's really fun.
Okay, okay. Well,
It's really
quick and
fun, yeah.
concise.
So that's it.
All right, yeah, it's fun. Done. End interview. um, but yeah, the
That's it's actually pretty interesting. Skidder always sends me lots of reference tracks.
mm,
That helps me quite a bit actually to get a rough idea of what he wants me the tune to sound like,
mm, okay,
and then I go ahead and
and then
I
you
wanted
just
to
do
say
it.
try to make him. I wanted to say try to make him happy, but that sounds a little weird.
No, that's the process, you know. It's like when you've got a
Hmm.
designer and they're making a thing, and the problem it's the age old problem is although I'm talking about this in a visual sense, but this works for audio
Hmm.
too. You know, um, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but 1,000 words do not make a picture. Uh, and so you have this thing of where you're like, okay, I know the designer's like, I know what I want, and then they try and put it into words, and they're like, this isn't quite exactly okay. we're just gonna hand it off to the guy. They're gonna make the thing, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but that's where reference tracks can come in handy, actually.
Yeah, that's true,
because
because you're speaking in the
it's
language
much,
of the music. Yeah.
Exactly. So you can say a lot of stuff with words, but just giving me a picture or something like other music helps just so much more.
So you've actually done some work on several other well, as you stated before, you've worked with a bunch of people over the years. Would you consider yourself a freelancer? Yeah.
I'm a freelancer, yeah.
How long have you been at it?
Well, I've started freelancing in September 2017, but it took until May 2018 until someone finally hired me.
Oh, yeah, that's how it goes, isn't it? It's you have to spend some time getting that.
Yeah, it seems to be normal though. From what I've heard, most people say it takes like 5 to 10 years until you're actually able to make a living with your freelancing work. I'm still working on that as well, but I started in technically 2018, but
yeah,
I think I'm on a pretty good way.
Yeah, no, I've been seeing.
I hope.
Yeah, people have been noticing you. I mean, well, because last week, the David Wise thing.
This week or last week, however you want to put it.
Oh, yeah, it's the weekend. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a thing. It was the music prompt from David Wise, and you posted the thing, and he's following you now.
That is pretty insane, yeah.
I
mean, usually when people ask me for my favorite composers, I always mention David Wise as well. Well, usually not first, but his name appears.
Yeah.
Even though I never played any of the Donkey Kong Country games, the classic ones.
For shame. For shame. But you've obviously heard the OST though.
Yeah.
So
thousands of times.
Yeah. Actually, on that note, other notable composers that catch your interest, maybe noting the composer and then noting a song in particular that you really like from them.
Well, I'd say let's start with David Wise.
Of course.
In David Wise's case, it's probably not a specific song, but his composition approach in general. He once said something like, I'm not good at quoting, so this is not a quote.
Yeah. It's a paraphrase.
He once said something like he wants to make every single chord in the piece of music as interesting as possible on its own.
Okay.
Instead of just having, common chords like C major and A minor, G major and stuff like that, and then compose a melody on top of that. He usually does like, okay, let's start with a C major 9 sharp 11th chord. Because that also that already sounds interesting on its own.
Yeah.
And then move on to A minor 7. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like he's not just about interesting chord progressions, but making the chords themselves unique, so that it's like if you took the chord in a vacuum and you just went ba 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 ba, and you'd be like, oh, ooh, that's interesting. Okay, cool. Who's next?
Another big, I'd say John. Maybe you know John Frusciante.
John Frusciante.
Frusciante, yeah, that's not a video game composer actually, but one of my biggest inspirations. He used to play guitar for the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I think he's actually playing now again since last year or so.
Oh, nice.
Also, more his mentality about music than the music itself that I really like.
What's his mentality?
He once said something like, yeah. Let me think for a second. He said something. Well, he was referring to playing guitar specifically, but I think you can pretty much transfer that to composing music in general.
Okay.
He said quoting.
Don't worry. We're okay. We don't worry. We don't have any citing worrying things. Just paraphrase. Just say you're paraphrasing it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, something like playing guitar is not about how fast you can move your fingers on a piece of wood that has strings attached to it, but it's more about the sounds that you're able to create with it, the emotion you're able to convey while playing guitar. You see so many guitarists who want to impress, but that's actually not at all what I like to see or to hear. Who play super fast legato arpeggios up and down. That's impressive, yeah, but I wouldn't listen to that.
Yeah, it's impressive, but it's not necessarily musical. Yeah, so that because that makes me think of the genre math metal, which is just like doing weird things with doing weird things with whatever music you have, but not really keeping musicality in mind, which is a very it's odd to me, but I know there are fans of it.
Yeah, doing weird things can lead to some really good results, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Splatoon soundtracks, for example.
Oh yes.
That is so experimental. Exactly. That is so experimental, but I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's a thing, right?
Because it's so experimental. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got well, I mean that's a soundtrack that has some real Quirk, that's for sure. But yeah. All right. So okay, I'm going to butcher the name, but tell it to me again. The Red Hot Chili Peppers guy.
John Frusciante.
Oh, I am never going to pronounce that right.
Yeah. Especially since you write it like this, I'm gonna write it in here real quick in Discord.
Oh, hold on. John Frusciante. Huh. Okay, Frusciante. All right, I'll get it right eventually. But yeah, it's written like normal John, and then Frusciante.
Like, John F. Yeah.
Yeah, John F. Yes. F in the chat. Excuse me. But F. Yeah. So going from there, let's explore a little bit more. So yeah, you mentioned John and you've mentioned Dave. John and Dave. So how about some more? Well, I remember you had mentioned a bunch of Japanese composers previously in some of our previous talks.
Yeah, so I'd say my two biggest inspirations were these two, John Frusciante and David Wise. I'm also a huge fan of Yoko Shimomura, who makes music for Kingdom Hearts, the Mario and Luigi series especially. I think she's also done stuff for Final Fantasy and I think Xenoblade Chronicles, some songs.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right.
She's done a lot. She's done a lot.
Yeah. Yoko's pretty good.
She's really good, yeah. She also makes a lot of quirky music, and I like that.
Yeah. But then
another composer would be, I have never pronounced that name before.
Oh boy.
Chunzenoe?
Chunzenoe?
Chunzenoe, I'm also gonna write that.
Oh, Jun Senwe. Jun Senwe. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Sinoe? Sune. Well, if they come across this thing and they hear us hear us butchering it, I will make the apology for us. We're sorry.
All right.
We're just gonna call you June S. June S. David W. John F. June S. Yoko S. The Yokos. But yes, what do you like about the June?
I grew up with his music. He made music for pretty much all modern Sonic games until like 2009 or something. So Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic and the Secret Rings, all those Wii games.
Yeah.
He also made some of the music for really old Sonic games like Sonic 3, my favorite video game of all time, Sonic 3.
Oh, really? Okay.
Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my favorite 2D game of all time. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I can dig that.
And he's one of my main inspirations for learning to play electric guitar, actually.
That's a good inspiration to have.
Yeah.
He's a good guy to take after.
Yeah. I think it was this Sonic Adventure soundtrack that really made me want to learn how to play electric guitar.
It opened your heart, so to speak.
Yeah, it opened my heart. I get it.
Yeah, sometimes I gotta throw out the puns.
Gotta live and learn, huh?
Yeah. All right. But yeah, all right. That's yeah, he's a good one. I love his music. I think it's got a very
it's so good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun music, right? It's very adventurous, but still got that freedom, that sonic freedom, which I really like.
Very melodic. Usually when you have, not usually, but often when you have electric guitars, you hear a lot of shredding. But he still focuses a lot on even making the rhythm guitars melodic. In a way, at least.
Oh, yeah.
So not using too many power chords all the time, but
yeah,
throwing a few licks in there.
Well, it feels like it's like, because it feels like one of those things where we're making it fun to play, you know? Like, you're not doing the, what is it? You're not doing Pachelbel's Canon on the as a bass player. I remember doing that. It was stand-up bass, and it was like,
yeah, that is pretty boring.
Yeah, I ended up learning everyone else's parts and playing them when they weren't playing them with them. But yeah. All right. So, anyone else on your list du jour?
On my list, I'd say Christopher Larkin. He made the music for Hollow Knight, and Hollow Knight is one of the main inspirations for Revita. That had a trailer a few days ago. Gonna plug that here real quick.
Oh, yes, of course. Plug away.
Yeah.
All right, Revita. Oh, actually, I mean, since you're plugging it, why don't you describe it a little bit?
You mean Revita?
Yeah, Revita, please.
Well, Revita is a roguelite twin-stick shooter. I'm actually not sure how much I'm allowed to say about it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a game. It's been announced though. Yeah,
it's been announced. It's been in development since I think 2017. I'm not quite sure. Pretty long.
Okay. Yeah, so they've been working on that thing for a while. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna make sure
it's fun. It has a demo out that you can play. You can wishlist it on Steam.
All right.
And stuff like that.
Well, does it come with the DisOmikron seal of approval?
It definitely does, yeah.
Okay. Well,
it's actually the game that dragged me into the indie scene in the first place, so...
Nice.
Yes.
Well, thank you, developers of Revita. I am very happy that the DisOmikron is in the indie space.
Yeah, me too. I probably would be a Latin teacher or something now if this wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah, you'd been yeah. I have no idea. I have no idea where I'd be if I wasn't here. Well, actually, I do know. I'd be in a cubicle, just plugging away, fixing things. But yeah, enough about me.
Yeah,
this is about you.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes. This is it's going to be in the title of this thing, DisOmikron interview. Yeah. You- uh, but anyway, yeah. So, yeah, you mentioned learning guitar out of because you were inspired by June, and I've seen you play a bunch of different instruments. Uh,
Hmm.
so, firstly, what was your first instrument?
My first instrument was acoustic guitar in 2003, I think. Yeah.
Oh,
I was 9 back then when I started.
oh, wow. Yeah, you started young.
uh, I started very young. Yeah. I used to watch a show called Sonic Underground a lot when I was a child.
Oh, I know
And
that one.
Sonic had a guitar, and that eventually made me want to pick up guitar as well.
All right.
But I
Yeah,
didn't want to
that
jump to electric guitar straight away, so I learned how to play acoustic guitar. And
cool.
that's actually the only time I ever had lessons of any
Of any
form
sort.
or shape.
Wow. So you're self-taught on like everything else?
on composing music on electric guitar, bass, mixing, mastering, pretty much everything.
Yeah. Well, that
I
explains
learned
the
all of
quirk.
that. I learned all of that in my bedroom.
Well, so and because I mentioned that you learned a whole bunch of instruments, how many instruments do you know how to play right now? If you've well, give a rough estimate if you don't have the exact number, of course.
Well, I have a lot of instruments, a lot of really weird or dare I say quirky instruments.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say the main ones are acoustic guitar, and electric bass.
Ah,
I also
okay.
have a ukulele. I have a didgeridoo in my corner. Not sure if that counts.
It counts. I mean, it definitely does. Uh,
Yeah. But I've played other stuff before for fun, even though I personally think I can't play it. Stuff like bongos and
oh yeah, yeah,
all that stuff.
yeah.
Percussion instruments, automaton.
Oh, automaton. Wait, what?
Hmm.
Oh, I am not familiar with. What is that?
That is a pretty weird instrument. You should definitely look that up.
Oh, okay, okay.
I say
I
look that
will.
up.
Automaton. That is on
I
my.
have
That is
no
on.
idea. I have no idea how to play that instrument, but it's so much fun.
All right,
And it sounds
automat.
so horrible.
Oh, the automat. Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I can see why that would be so much fun. The little instrument is like it looks like a little musical note. It's got the two eyes, and you just go like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. All right. Well, um, that's I mean, that kind of hits most of the questions I have for you. It's like, the kinds of instruments you do, the types of music you like, your inspirations. Um,
Hmm.
and so actually looking ahead, because I know you're always doing things, making new musics and dare I say, making connections. What's in the
Hmm.
future for DisOmikron?
We will see.
Taking it
I
as it
hope
comes,
that
yeah?
the first game that I composed for will finally be out soon. I've
Mm,
been doing
mm.
this for quite some years and still don't have my music in a finished game.
Ah,
I have my music in like 3 or 4 canceled games and 1 or 2
ah,
abandoned games, but that doesn't count.
yeah, well, that's the indie life for you. Sometimes
Hmm.
it all gets,
That's how it is.
yeah. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. But I hope, I hope that,
Yeah.
that,
Sometimes you lose and sometimes the others win.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Our goal is to have Legends of Mathematica be the second game that your stuff is out in. That is my hope. Because honestly, you're really good. Like I
Well,
I
thank you.
cannot like I cannot emphasize enough. You're really good at what you do. Like I've listened to your work, and like one of the things that I really appreciate about it is that when you get a concept and you're told to do it, like you are very able to mold your composition to match, and just kind of make it happen.
Yeah,
And
that's good to hear. Well,
yeah,
I've been listening to video game music since I was like 10 or something.
mm,
Most people listen to pop music. I listen to pop music as well for like 2 days or something, but then
yeah. Then it's back to the games.
I needed something more interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's a deal. Like these, I do feel like because while there is a certain kind of mastery to making pop music, to be sure, understanding how to make a
Mhm.
hook and then do this is the hook, this is the hook. It's catchy, you like it, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. Um,
And then get a good mixing or mastering engineer, something like that, because the production quality is really good.
oh yeah,
I cannot deny that. Pop music production quality is really good,
oh yeah. It's just
but
the
yeah,
intricacy of the compositions are. Meh,
I mean, yeah, you listen to the first two chords and you know what the last two chords are gonna be. That's how pop music works
yeah. So
because
let's
it's
see.
always the same four chords, just in different keys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get you though. Is that some that was my main thing too, was a lot of I was definitely very much a game music guy myself. A lot of old school stuff from like well, I think I'm older than you by some margin. I'm not quite sure how
Yeah,
much older. But yeah, it's like 86. That's my birth time. Uh so
yeah, you're a little older than me then.
yeah, just a tad, just a tad.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, lots of NES tunes back in the day, and I still remember it was always a thing. Like when talking to people about compositions and music, it took a while for it to get to the point where people would recognize that the compositions in video games were actually really complex, and a lot of them are just like really, really good. Um,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Because I think a part of it was because I know back in the NES era, because you had a lot of complex stuff like the Silver Surfer soundtrack, or the one for Wolverine, or anything from Mega Man, really.
Yeah.
Um, and they're all very, very multi-layered. But the thing that hid the quality was the chip tuniness. Although that's quirk and character, which in of itself is a thing. Um, but I think that was a part of what made it take a while for video game music to become more mainstream appreciated. Well, to an extent, I think it was a part of it, but
Yeah. Not really where I live, but
oh yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah. Well, lay it on me. What was it like for you?
Well, when I was still in university, I didn't study music or anything like that. I studied some other stuff.
Hmm.
uh, but I did have some music courses actually, not music theory or anything like that, but music pedagogy.
Oh,
How
pedag-
to I have
oh,
no idea how to pronounce that word.
oh, pedagogy. Pedagogy. Okay, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. All right. Well, describe the word now, please.
um, and one of the professors once said, what did he say? Yeah. Um, he wanted to know music that fits certain situations.
Mm,
And obviously, the first thing that I could think of was, well, video game music.
yeah.
And his entire lecture was, I think, yeah, well, 90 minutes long or something like that.
Hmm.
And he didn't talk a single word about film music or video game music.
Huh.
And I still cannot comprehend how this is possible.
Did you talk about Peter and the Wolf at least, or something like that? Uh, uh,
I
that's
still remember he talked a lot about elevator music and music that plays in supermarkets and stuff like that, but
huh.
not film music and not video game music. That really made me sad.
That's really that's odd. I, I mean, because we've got a term, leitmotif and all, where it's just like a
Hmm.
thing for a specific idea, and he's talking
Yeah,
about music that
elevator music.
embodies, and it's just like, uh, uh, okay, my mind equals blown. I'm putting my mind back together right now.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, okay, because I know that was yeah, how do I put it? Because I know, well, as I'm a minor musician, not all that great, mind you. Good enough to appreciate people that are actually good at what they do. um, but it's one of the things, because I know you learn. I feel like when it comes to learning how to music, like
Hmm.
you learn a lot from the classical stuff, and you learn a lot from golden age movie OSTs. Danny Elfman, John Williams, Henry Mancini, a few others. Um, but I feel also that you learn, like, a lot of video game music. Like, listening to video game music taught me a lot about
Yeah. Hmm.
like arrangement and everything. Um,
Yeah. Es- Especially Super Mario Galaxy for me, because that made me want to try to write my
oh,
own music back in 2007, I think, or when the game was out.
oh,
2008,
nice.
2007 or 2008. I listened
Hmm.
to Super Mario Galaxy and I, I loved it so much. I was like, I need to learn how to do this. And then I tried and I failed. And
Hmm.
I repeated that like 3,000 times until eventually I got better and better,
Mhm.
I hope.
Oh, well, I don't know what you were at the beginning. You might have been a prodigy from the start, but I can at least say
I
that you're
still have my
self-improving.
yeah, I still have my very first composition here actually, but
Huh.
the public will never hear that.
No one will ever know.
What is music theory or what is rhythm? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that
and
was
a,
something.
and a
Uh,
clarinet is the lowest instrument in a rock song. Yeah, why not? Stuff like that.
well, it's experimental.
very, very experimental.
Well, all right. Oh, this has been fun. I've greatly enjoyed this. Um, so now I am going to go to random questions that are unrelated to music and are just kind of random, mostly,
Oh
for the
boy.
most part.
Oh boy.
Yes. So, first question: what is your favorite food?
Huh. My favorite food. I don't really think I have a favorite food.
Ah, ah.
When I
Okay,
think
dokie.
about it, I have I have I have some allergies that I have to be careful about.
Oh, okay, okay. The
So I don't
You're more
really.
worried about not dying.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily dying, but
Yes, yes. The
other stuff.
Snuffleupagus is more worried about more worried about comfort
Yeah.
of eating rather than necessarily the taste. Just kind of like, this is food.
Yeah.
It feeds my belly.
I am human. I need food, and that's it.
All right. You heard it here first, folks. DisOmikron is, in fact, not a musical robot. Uh, all
I
right.
am
So,
not a. Yeah.
oh,
Sorry.
that was okay. Next question. What is
Hmm?
your favorite place?
My favorite place.
Hmm.
It's the chair in front of my laptop. Because that's where I make music.
A man after
I'm
my
sorry.
own heart. All right. No, that's cool. It's cool. These are.
I always have to say the first thing that comes to my mind, and
hey, if it's the
it
first
can
thing
be very random.
If it's the first thing that comes to your mind, it must at least be partially true.
Mm-hmm. I actually haven't been in that many places before.
Oh.
I've never left Europe. I wanted to go to Great Britain for the first time this year, but then, well, this year.
Yeah. And COVID said no.
Yeah, basically.
All right.
I've been to Italy once. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Croatia.
I haven't been there. Well, I've been.
But apart from that, my favorite place is being at home.
Home is where the heart is. So I am. These are great. These are awesome answers. They are full of quirk, as one would say.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard that word before.
All right. So next on the list, what is your favorite console?
My favorite console? I think it's a tie these days. It has always been the Nintendo GameCube. Because it has just, in my opinion, the best controllers ever built.
I can dig that.
So many great games that I still play these days, actually.
That's how you know you got to keep her.
Not on my GameCube, because my GameCube died in like 2030 or something. 13.
Died in the future. DisOmikron, yeah. You time traveling? You holding out on me?
Maybe. Well, and the other console would be the Nintendo Switch, actually.
All right. Yeah.
I'm one of the 10 people in the world who never had any issues with Joy-Con drifting and stuff like that. So I really, really can't complain about this console. And so many great games. I've put so many hours into Splatoon 2. You don't want to know how many.
Well, I am mildly curious, but I will leave it. We will leave it a mystery.
It's so many great games in general. Indie games as well. Played Celeste, but you can play that on other sides as well. But I played it on Switch. Or Hollow Knight.
Yes.
I really loved the Zelda game, the 3D Zelda game, Breath of the Wild.
Yes. All right.
And some others.
Yeah, no, the Switch is definitely a powerhouse, a very powerhouse console. You have a good taste, sir. A good taste. All right.
I've always been a Nintendo and Sega person, so I never owned a PlayStation or an Xbox, actually. So always Nintendo.
Yeah.
Nintendo DS, 3DS, and so on.
Yeah.
GameCube.
Makes sense. And it ain't nothing wrong with being a Nintendo fanboy. It's they have very good reason to have their fans. What is it? Are they? They've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. The final question. What is your favorite book?
Huh. The funny thing is, I barely ever read anything.
It's cool.
The only type of books that I read are grammar books and stuff like that. I'm a bit of a nerd.
Yeah.
I'm currently learning my 6th language, so
Oh wow. What are those 6 languages? So lay them out for me.
well,
Which ones would you learn?
my native language is German.
Okay.
Then from good to bad, I'd say the next is Latin, followed by English, and the other 3 are also are all meh. I'm still learning Japanese. I started that last December.
Mm-hmm.
And I also learned French and ancient Greek a while back, but I've never had to use those 2 languages, so I've forgotten at least 90% of it by now.
Ah,
I think the
yeah.
last time I used French was in 2010, and ancient Greek is
Well,
to be honest, it's useless.
yeah, it's kind of a dead language as far as I understand it.
I mean, Latin is not a dead language as well, but if you know Latin, you understand a lot of other languages. If I
It's true.
see or hear people talk in Spanish or Italian or anything like that, I usually understand what they're talking about, even though I don't know their language, because they all derive from Latin. That's pretty cool. And meanwhile, ancient Greek is just there.
It exists. I mean, if you ever want to go into study of ancient texts, you can use it.
I guess.
But all right. Well, I have asked my random questions. I am sated. I am content and happy. So, without further ado, I'm going to go to the sign off here. But before we go, DisOmikron, do you have any particular platforms or places that people could find you?
Yeah, I'm the most active on Twitter. DisOmikron CJ, because Christoph Jakob CJ is attached to DisOmikron. And if you search that name, you can find me on all sorts of sites: SoundCloud, Bandcamp, YouTube. I think Spotify and those sites as well, but I'm not active there.
All right. Well, coolness.
So the main sites are definitely Twitter, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And well, Bandcamp, because that's the best site if you want to support musicians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So if you ever want to support a musician, go check out their stuff on Bandcamp.
And maybe buy a track or two. Oh, don't forget to do that too. No, I mean you could show up there and just look at it and then tell other people about it. But if you got some monies, you should just support them. That's what I think. Forgive the accent. This happens sometimes. I just kind of flip into them. Anyway, that is it for today. So, DisOmikron, if you would. The phrase is, "This is blah," signing off.
You know exactly what I'm going to say. So, this is blah, signing off.
Yes. Well, and this is Redco, signing off. Play the games you want to play, boyos.